So by the way, I never talk about this. Like, I know for myself, whenever I have like anxiety that's really, really bad, I just kind of feel like the world is like closing in around me. I'm not the kind of person where I can't get out of bed every day, but I'll have a panic attack or an anxiety attack, and it's happened at work. What's up, guys, and welcome back to episode 5, that's so crazy, of Millennial Girls. If you are just tuning in and you have no idea who we are, I'm Racquel. Normally I'm blonde, but I got bored in quarantine, so pink hair. What's going on? And
did you just say you were born in quarantine?
Bored? Did I say born or bored?
I thought you said born in quarantine. I was like, hey, you were reborn again. I'm Natasha, guys.
Born again in quarantine. This episode is going to be a deeper one for sure. We're gonna have a very special guest who we love so much, but we will get to him in a second. But we're kind of talking a little bit about anxiety and just overcoming it. I think it's a really good episode to talk about, especially right now with quarantine. I know a lot of people are more anxious and have been, and the world is in a very uncertain place. So we kind of wanted to talk about that. One thing I'm definitely doing in quarantine to kind of combat the anxiety situation is I am doing this 90-day challenge. Myself and one of my best friends, Alex, we kind of stumbled upon it. It's by one of my favorite authors, Racquel Goldy. She's about like self-help and motivation. It's all about helping yourself and putting yourself in that mental place. She's kind of harsh sometimes on you too. Like you're like, oh, okay, yeah, like, okay, sis, like I needed to hear that. So the first week was about perspective, which we totally needed, and it was about joy and about, there's just different topics every week that you necessarily don't think of in quarantine. Like I know for myself, whenever I have like anxiety that's really, really bad, I just kind of feel like the world is like closing in around me. I'm not the kind of person where I can't get out of bed every day, but I'll have a panic attack or an anxiety attack, and it's happened at work. Natasha's seen it, and it's scary.
So like when you say you're having an anxiety attack, what exactly happens? Like take us through the steps. What's the feeling? Where does it come from? How do you kind of like settle into it?
So by the way, I never talk about this except with like my friends privately. So this is like very therapeutic right now. So hopefully it will be for you. No, I mean, obviously like anything else, some days are better than others. I will say I didn't really have bad anxiety until I started working for the Panthers, just because it was such a high stress situation. And I've talked about it before. I always had to be so perfect and so on, but I mean, that's me anyway. I love what I do and I'm a perfectionist. So I put so much stress on myself, which obviously makes you more anxious. But yeah, I more so get it when I'm overwhelmed. Like I've been a lot better this year with dealing with my anxiety, just kind of being able to work out more. And I had a lot of medical issues last year, and that kind of didn't help the situation. And now that that's kind of under control, knock on wood, for the time being, it's been less anxiety. But I don't know, it just happens at work. I know a lot of people have that, it just comes on. You don't necessarily always like know what's gonna happen, but I'll get overwhelmed, I'll get like really worked up, I'll start getting like really hot, and then I get nauseous. It's really strange, and then it just like happens and I can't breathe, and I already have asthma, so that's great. But like I get really quiet, so that's how you know when it's happening, because Natasha will like look over and I'll just be sitting in the corner of the station, and I just like, she can tell I'm like internally freaking out. I don't really outwardly have them, I inwardly have them, because obviously, if you're having them in a public place, you don't want to make it seem like you're having an anxiety attack. So
but when you say like you go silent, is your mind racing, or are you shutting down?
I don't really shut down.
No.
I'm more so having like a full on like, oh my God, I have to do this and this and this and this and this, and oh my God, and this and this, and then I like can't breathe, and I like slowly, I like have to be like, okay, take deep breaths.
Right.
You're like, breathe, inhale, exhale, do some yoga breathing exercises.
So like it's obviously happened to you, several times. Like what have you learned to get out of it?
Well, when it was happening, when I was working for the Panthers, it was totally not under control. I would have them a lot. I would start having them like before games, after games. I was having them a lot. And I was just trying different things. I was doing, yoga at home, or I was trying to do breathing exercises. I was doing meditating on YouTube. Like, I was trying to do all these different things because, there are all these things now. There's apps, there's Headspace and Calm app and all this stuff. I to the point where I would literally have to get up out of bed, lay on my ground, and like lay there with my palms up and just like try and breathe because it was so bad and I could not function because I was putting so much pressure on myself. I'm like getting anxiety just like thinking about it because it was so bad.
So okay, let's move forward. So now you're doing something like the 90-day challenge, and like how is it helping you?
Yeah, so I'm actually also, this is totally not an ad, but I found these anti-stress gummies that have really helped me. It like releases something in your brain, and it has lemon balm in them. They're by the Ollie brand, and it's like, I think it's like anti-stress gummies. I take them twice a day, sometimes once a day, and I can notice a difference. I forgot to take them 2 days last week, and we had so much to do for the podcast, and I actually had a shoot too, and I was panicked, like I was getting overwhelmed. And so yeah, they really helped me. A bunch of my friends take them too now because they suffer from anxiety as well. They also work in the music industry, shocker. And so yeah, I've found ways. I'm working out now a lot more because I can physically, and it's just, I don't know, everything is helping. Like I notice too, if I don't work out or go on a run or even do something, like it totally affects everything too mentally, because I grew up competitively dancing. I've mentioned that before. So my body's used to like getting energy out.
Right.
So I need to, and I have a lot of energy in case you couldn't tell.
Yeah.
So it needs to come out.
One thing I want to say is I applaud Racquel for opening up about it, because I know it's not easy and it's not something that everybody feels comfortable talking about. And one thing I want to say to Racquel and to anyone who might be dealing with any of this or can relate in any shape or form is find a part of yourself to embrace it. And it's something that you have to learn to live with. Don't tell yourself, oh, I got to get rid of it. You know what I mean? Because then I think that'll kind of like debilitate the situation a little bit more. It's like you got to find ways and tools to work around it, and that's it. Like it's okay, like I know a lot of YouTubers that I've been seeing lately have been like so public about like having epilepsy and like all sorts of like serious conditions, and they're successful, they're famous, and they still make it happen. So same with Racquel. Just because she's might be facing with some of these things, and trust me, like I have my own stories too, but like I want this to be about her, is that you can still make something of it. You can make something of it. Like it doesn't in any way, shape, or form stop you from doing anything. It's not something to feel ashamed of, like she said. It's totally normal, I feel like, nowadays, especially now.
I'm like getting emotional like talking about it. I never talk about it, like I said, like except with my good friends because they've witnessed it, but it's a lot. It's debilitating. It really is. And like I'm lucky to have good friends who are like, okay, breathe, you're gonna be okay. A lot of my friends suffer from it as well, and they take medicine for it. And for me, I'm the kind of person that I want to be able to mentally put it on the back burner. Like I read a lot of like I said, the self-help books and motivational books, and Rachel Hollis has great books, and that's the 90-day challenge that I'm doing. And like you're in control of your own body. So, and I think that's one thing I've also learned over the past 2 years dealing with it.
Of course, your environment can definitely trigger this. I mean, if it's, if you don't already know this. And so in her case, she said she was like really activated at working with the Panthers, which, not to point fingers or anything, but it's just, circumstantial. Even if it's not your workspace, it could be your environment at home, like wherever you might be, that also triggers it. So, obviously pay attention to what your triggers are, and whatever that is, try to separate yourself from those things if it affects you deeply, because sometimes the circumstances are not correct for you. Now, take a deep breath, and then I think an important thing to say with this episode is, of course, we always want to have fun. We're going to talk about music with Zack Martino, of course, but I think like it's cool to get to know the artist in different ways. And he's a DJ. I know a lot of DJs that they're kind of introverted, like a lot of them, they are liking this time off to spend the time at home and just working on music and stuff. And of course they love being with all of us out and doing their sets and their performances and the festivals and everything. But I think it's a really good thing that we could talk about now, like Racquel said, and also just, provide you guys some advice. I think we all have faced anxiety in one way, shape, or form. I'm sure a lot of you can relate to it. And like I said, again, I hope that it can help, any of you that are listening right now.
Without further ado, it's time to bring in our super special, awesome, talented guest. I love him so much. He's so great. He's an awesome DJ producer, Zack Martino. He has had his 8th charted song on the Billboard charts. And he's only had a radio single out for 2 years. So, I mean, if that doesn't say anything, that's how talented he is. Zack, how are you? Welcome on the podcast.
Thank you guys for having me, and thank you for that intro. You guys are awesome.
Of course. So, you're still in New York right now?
Yep, still in New York. Yep. Itching to go to LA though, really, really bad.
I know. Oh, I feel that. I'm wearing my California jacket. See? I knew.
After this, let's go to LA.
Oh, it's a done deal. I know that they're starting to open up again. I've been getting like flight emails, like $59 flights. I'm like, is this a sign? Like maybe I should go. And Natasha's actually from San Diego, so we'll just make it a group trip.
Let's do it.
San Diego is probably, I don't want to say my best, like my favorite place, but it's one of my like 2-3 favorite places to ever go.
Really?
Yeah, every time I go, I have a lot. My family is half in New York, half in San Diego.
Oh.
I love just going there and seeing family, and yeah, the vibes there are just perfect. The weather is perfect. I don't know. I love it.
Now you know why Zack's the best. He's great. But he's also very honest and open, which is, if you didn't tell by this intro that we had, that is the theme of today's show. But he's been super open with everything he's gone through. So Zack, I'm going to read this post that you did. So you said, 2010 through 2020, this all still feels like such a crazy dream of mine. A lot of you may not know this, but growing up, I never had a high school experience. I was homeschooled the last 2.5 years due to really bad anxiety. And in that time, music was the one thing I could rely on to make me happy. I quickly discovered dance music and was staying up all hours of the night, learning everything I could about music production and how to DJ. After practicing nonstop and a lot of trial and error, it wasn't up until 4 years ago where I released my first song and caught the attention of the artists and labels I looked up to. Huge thanks to my team, my label, DJs, radio programmers, stores, promoters, and all of you for playing my music and coming to the shows. I wouldn't be where I am today without the support of your show. We're only getting started. Whatever you guys are pursuing, please don't ever give up. You got this. Much love and success to all of you in the new decade. Happy New Year. I mean... So I did a Skype interview with Zack a month ago now, and I'm pretty sure, if not in the interview, after the interview, I said he should have a podcast because he is so just inspirational. And after getting to talk to you, Zack, like I came home that day and I was telling my parents, I was like, he's so incredible to be this open and to have accomplished all that you have, and you're only 24, right?
Yeah.
Is incredible. So I mean, was it really hard for you to be open about everything and your anxiety at first, or did you kind of always know that you wanted to be very, very, just, this is how I am?
Yeah, so I've been, doing interviews and stuff since 2015. And in the first year I was doing interviews, and that's when I didn't make radio music yet. This 2015 was more like club stuff just to get my name circulating around like the DJ scene. So this was all everything was just so new to me. And, my anxiety at the time in 2015, I looked at it as a negative. And I said, why am I going to put this energy out there? And I shouldn't have to talk about this. It should be about the music. Like, people don't care about me. They just care about the songs that I'm putting out. And then as I grew up and as I started, talking to other producers, and then to be honest with the whole, Avicii thing, I was like, man, like this really is a serious thing. And it wasn't up until I think that point where I was like, you know what, I don't want to hide like what I went through and hide all this stuff, because if I went through it, Avicii went through it, I'm sure there's someone right now going through the same thing. And it doesn't have to be wants to be a musician or anything. It could be, this kid is in school and he's failing all of his tests, but he has to do this because, his parents are paying all this money and to go to school. So everyone has their own anxieties and stuff. So I was like, you know what, let me just put it out there and just, tell my own story. Yeah, it was scary. My whole fear was I didn't want it to take away from my music. Now I'm just open about it, and I talk to people. Like, people in my DMs are always like, man, like, listening to your stories, like, I have the same thing. I definitely want to help people now with it because, it sucks.
That's what I wanted to ask too. Like, now that you put it out there and it's public, you got good reaction from it, right?
Yeah, thankfully. In this industry specifically, a lot of people are talking about it. Good friends of mine that I would consider, I didn't even know that they were going through this. Talking about it really helps. Everyone should talk about it. In this industry, people even doing like fundraisers and stuff to just bring more awareness to this topic.
When Racquel and I were kind of introing before having you come on, we were talking about how this is the first time that she's like publicly putting this out there, and she was kind of scared to do it too. And it's natural, it's normal to have those feelings because it's not something that everyone feels comfortable admitting or, just being completely raw and honest to so many people. She has a large following, and now that you've kind of faced this for years, what have you learned over the years, or like what methods or tools do you use to kind of overcome those moments?
Yeah, so as far as anxiety, I don't want to sit here and say, oh yeah, like it goes away, because that's not the case. Any little thing can trigger an anxiety. Actually, I'm gonna show you guys. Right here, this picture on my wall, I had a show there, and that was at the time the biggest show I ever played for. And I've been okay with my anxiety, but the panic attacks, that is what kills me. And during that set, like usually I'll get like the little jitters before the show and everything. But this show, probably at that moment, I had a full-blown panic attack right in the middle of the whole crowd. And I'm like, oh my God, like, what am I gonna do? So when something like that comes, I just literally put myself in a place where mentally I'm like, all right, I just start naming stuff. I start naming everyone I love in my head. And I just try to get my mind off of basically the reality of what's going on and put myself in like, a dream world. Like, I sing the lyrics that is playing on the song or something just to get my mind off of it. But that was probably the scariest moment of my life. But as far as regular anxiety, Racquel, what is your anxiety? Do you know what it's triggered? Like, do you know where, like, when you feel that urge?
Yeah, so it starts when I'm like overwhelmed. So, which is like, of course, with our jobs, obviously we're always overwhelmed. But I put, I've told you, I put so much stress on myself, as we do, because the perspective and persona of us being in the spotlight is we have to be perfect. And so over everyone, I feel like, put so much pressure on myself to be perfect and to be what everyone else wants me to be. And that is when it starts happening. It's been a lot better the past 6 months, just because I'm in a different work environment. When I worked for the NHL team, I had to be so perfect and on all the time. And obviously, talking in front of 18,000 people and dealing with all of that was what that really started it. But it's definitely like when I'm overwhelmed. I had one right before Music Week. Well, what would have been Music Week, because we were planning so much, and my PD was in the room when it happened, and he was like, whoa, whoa, whoa. And I was like, I get really quiet. So that's how everyone kind of knows something is happening, because we all know I'm not quiet.
It's not normal.
Yeah. And Natasha's seen it happen too. She's seen me, like, she'll look over, I'm in the corner, I'm just on my phone, and I'm like not talking. And she's like, hello? Like, you good? And I'm like, because I don't vocalize when it's happening. I like kind of shut down, and internally I'm just like, it's happening. So I feel like I should be the only one dealing with it. And it's just like, it's so annoying. It's so annoying.
No, I know. I think a couple things. One, don't take life too serious. No one gives a fuck. Even when I was first starting out, I was like, I have to make everyone like me, I have to do this. But it's like, yeah, everyone likes me, but I don't like me. So it's like, what's going on here? So I just learned to just say in my head, like if I'm spending 30 hours on this song that only like a 2% of people are going to listen to this little sound that I'm making, I'm like, they don't care. Like, no one cares. No one's going to hear it in the car and be like, you should have EQ'd that kick a little better. And then you also have to say it's okay to take breaks. And even when you feel overwhelmed, the worst thing to do is fight through it, to be honest. Especially if you do have that anxiety trigger, the best thing to do is just, tomorrow's a new day. like that's how you have to look at it. Tomorrow's a new day. This is like a new chapter, you know. Every day is a new chapter, and that's what I do. I used to, like, I have my bed right here, and I just like built like this whole studio workstation here. So it's like before I had this, I would just work in bed, and there would be times where I was laying in bed with the laptop on me, just like I'm knocked out in the morning will come, and I'm like, shit, like there was no off switch. So it really is a situation where you have to just hold back and just relax. Wait, actually, with this one thing, how are you guys doing with like your anxiety and stuff?
I've been okay. I had like a weird week a couple weeks ago, but I was just dealing with some like social media, some drama, and I was like, what is happening? So, but I turned off my phone. I literally took the weekend, I turned off my phone, I reset. I think that's it too, is that now I'm kind of in a place where I'm like, okay, I have the right to put down my phone, turn it off, not answer everyone when they're asking me, can you have this up by this time? Is this going to be up? Can I have a teaser? Can we do this? Are you going to interview my like, whoa, I'm going to take a day for myself and breathe, and it's okay. And
Mental health day. That's what I call it.
Yeah. And I think that's something that we're both figuring out, especially with obviously like launching a podcast. I say birthing a podcast during quarantine. We've been up until 3 a.m. Doing everything we need to get done. And the other day I was like, okay, she's like, I need a day off. I'm like, okay, we both do. So you need to breathe. I need to breathe. We need to take a day for ourselves. I'm gonna like watch Outer Banks on Netflix. You need to do your thing. Like, we need a break, because otherwise it sucks the life out of you.
It does. And especially talking a lot, like all day, every day, like even at the end of the day with like meetings and stuff, I'm like, oh, I just need a break.
Yeah, you're like, I need to stop.
Yeah, so I get it. But that's great that you guys started this up, and eventually do you have like a goal of getting it on air? Is that like something in the works?
Yeah, I mean, for us, I think there's just a lot of different, we did a Instagram live last week with a local charity down here that's all about women, supporting women and women empowerment, which was amazing. And she asked, she's like, what's your, end goal? And I was like, ooh, wait, let's go. I was like, well, I would like this to turn into a media brand and us be able to get this everywhere and kind of.
Are you guys doing just DJs, or is it like?
No, we're doing everyone. So we actually had Ladato on as well, so that was really fun. But we've had, we had a country artist, we had an content creator influencer who's all about like quarantine dating, and it has her own Instagram dating show. So we've had we're just kind of having different people. I think for us too, we talked about this in our first episode when we were wanting to launch this. Everyone's always like, well, what's your focus going to be? You have to have a super hyper focus. And we were very much so struggling with that. And I was just like, we are in the sickest industry ever. Media, entertainment, music. Why don't we use our connections we have? It's not going to be the same kind of thing. We're not going to sit here and be like, so Zach, when you were making Crave You, like, we're going to ask those questions obviously too, but more broad.
I like that. It's more personal. And, that's, I always, do these interviews and I always talk about the music and stuff, but it's never really about me, or it's never really like, like outside of like just work stuff, So it's cool that like doing podcasts and stuff like that. I like it.
Yeah.
Thank you.
And even, yeah, thanks. Even we want it to be very relatable. And I think something that we're realizing too is we're getting to be very real, because even for us, we have this on-air personality persona, and it's a part of us, but it's not necessarily us and us being real. And I think this is definitely an outlet where everyone's able to see, like, this is Natasha, this is Racquel, this is Zack Martino, not just talking about his music. So I think that's something that we are really, really proud of, because a lot of people have been saying that to us, and we're like, okay, so that's basically our focus, and that's what we're turning into, which is great.
And I think right now we're in the times of the most honest we can be, the better, the more relatable we are, the more real we are. Everybody kind of just jumps on board, because I feel like I was just talking about this last night. I just picked up Lost. I don't know if you saw Lost, Zach.
Lost from like 10 years ago, Lost?
Yeah, like, yes. So my fiance is like, and my dad too, he was like, they were both like, oh, Lost is such a great show, you gotta watch it, like it's even better than Breaking Bad. Whoa, yes, they put that claim out there, and I was like, okay.
Disclaimer.
I was like, I gotta watch this because if they're comparing it to Breaking Bad, that's a really good show. So I start watching it, whatever. I don't think it compares. I mean, I see like, you know, the why people would like Lost, but now watching it compared to the shows of today, it's like so on a set, so Hollywood, so fake that it's amazing how now all we want is something real, where before everything in Hollywood was about fantasy. It's completely shifted now. So yeah, it's amazing, and that's obviously like what we're trying to do here too, is because we want everybody to be able to relate to you guys too, you know?
Exactly. And yeah, I mean, even like I can't get really into reality TV because I feel it's like a little fake reality TV.
Oh yeah, reality TV is not reality. It's scripted.
Reality, but I do love like what shows I watching. I'm like a big nerd. Like I love like all like fantasy shows and stuff. Like on Netflix, I watched Lock and Key, which is sick.
I haven't seen that.
I got, what was Ozark? Is that what it's called?
Yeah.
Yes.
A couple episodes, but I'm like, I don't know, I couldn't really get into it. But I hear that one's really good, and I don't know. Is there any other like good ones I should like look into?
Outer Banks is so good.
I've heard that one too.
It is.
Is that with the surfers?
Yes. And I'm watching it. I'm gonna watch it again. It's so good. It's crazy.
It's really good. I think it's number one still on Netflix right now.
Yeah, it's like the OC meets Goonies meets National Treasure.
Oh, okay. That's sick.
Right. Yeah. It's very real. Like it's not fake at all, like we were saying before. Like you feel like you're in it, you're experienced. Like I literally was like stressed after watching the last episode. I was like, oh my god, what are they gonna do? Well, we need season 2. Like what's happening?
It's one of those things where I mean everybody's gotten very good at, I think, building those characters and having us being able to relate to the characters, and it goes hand in hand with what we're doing with the podcast too. It's like even just the other day when we did the IG live, it's like already somebody identified with me, and I know that millions of people are going to identify with Racquel, and others are going to identify with you too, Zach. So that's the fun part about it. And with Outer Banks, I'm totally into the show too, and honestly, like at first I didn't really want to watch it because it does look a little like fratty. Like when you look at like the guys and stuff, you get that vibe. And I had messaged my friend last night. She's like, oh, I don't know, I haven't watched it yet because it looks kind of fratty. And I was like, that's the perfect word. But then when you watch it, it's completely not.
It's not.
It reminded me of like Riverdale.
Yes. It has some Riverdale aspects to it too. But it's so funny because she started it, and I'm like, you know, I have like the attention span is all over the place. Like I can't just sit and lay in bed and binge. I always need to be doing something. But obviously I'm like quarantined, so I might as well. And my friends were all like, Racquel, you have got to watch it. And I was like, I don't know if I'm gonna like it. They're like, oh, you're gonna love it. And I was like, okay. So I started it and I was like, what is this? And now I'm gonna go watch it again.
Yeah, my mom is like hooked on it. She watches it all day.
That's so
See?
funny.
It's so good. Outer Banks, shout out. Season 2. Please make it happen.
Seriously. What was your favorite concert that you've ever been to?
It's funny. The first concert I ever been to was a Kiss concert with Aerosmith. And I remember when I was young, I was 6 years old, but like I was a diehard Kiss fan. Like I had posters on my walls. Like my parents loved that band, so like that was the first I guess introduction to live concerts and all that stuff, because I never been to any. I was only 6. But so that one I still remember it vividly. Like it was so surreal, because I would watch like the Kiss movies that they made, and like just seeing that was sick. So that's always like nostalgic for me every time I hear their music. But I think as I got older, like I'll say EDC, because that was the first festival I like been to, but then also EDC because I also got to perform my song there. So that was like my first festival I ever went to. I actually got to perform a song. So
wow,
that was like a nostalgic moment for me.
How did that feel?
That was the craziest.
Which EDC was it?
Vegas.
Oh wow.
EDC days. I played a couple festivals back in the day, like in 2015 when I released my first song, I got to play a festival, and that was like an insane moment. But I think the whole story of EDC is just insane. I'll tell you like a quick rundown of this most stressful week of my entire life. The most stressful I've ever been, but it all worked out. So do you guys remember my song Make Me Yours?
Yes.
So I made that song with Borges, and
Right.
the vocal got sent to me by a publisher. So when a publisher sends a vocal, they basically send it to a bunch of DJs. So you don't know, it's not your song yet. You know, it's like you get to work on it with, you know, Borges, and like hopefully the publisher likes it, and then hopefully the label likes it, and then hopefully they put it out. Like it's just, I wasn't signed yet, so it was just like hopes and dreams. That's what this was. So I got sent the vocal on Monday. Oh, sorry, I got sent the vocal from Ramada. So I know Ramada loved the vocal. They just wanted me to make the song. It was just like an acapella. So here I am. Me and Borges are on FaceTime. We made it, and so Monday comes. I'm like, dude, I got this vocal. Let's work on this. So now, mind you, it's Monday. EDC is Sunday.
Oh God.
So Borges is like, dude, if we could finish this, let's play it at the festival. Now I don't have flights. I don't have a hotel. I have nothing booked. I'm just like, okay, yeah, let's do it. But then I get an email from his management, and they're like, listen, the only way we can perform this song is if it's 100% going to come out. So now we're doing a whole 2-3 months of like planning, like, you know, when you plan a release,
Yeah.
well, like there's a lot of planning that goes behind it. It's like, all right, yeah, you have to sign off on this, you have to sign this contract and this contract and all this stuff. So I'm like, dude, there's no way this is happening. But I'm like, you know what? It's gonna freaking happen, and I'm gonna make it happen. So Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, I like finished the rough demo that we could play out. It wasn't the final version, that happened later on. But I was like, dude, I have this version we could play out. It sounds clean, it's gonna bump, let's do it. He's like, let's go. So that song's done. Now hit up Armada, out of the office until Thursday.
No.
Wait, so I'm like, no. So I'm calling everyone I knew. And this is like 2018, I wasn't signed yet. I was just like, I'm like, you know, I had to hold on to me out. So I wasn't like there yet with them, but I'm like, you know what? I don't care. I want this. Let me text anyone I know who works at Armada, and we got to push this song. So now Thursday morning comes. They finally are getting, you know, back to everything. Like they're doing everything. But then Borges' team is like, yeah, but even if we sign the contract, we need a release date. So I'm like, oh my God. And now it's Thursday. You know, the festival's going on Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Friday comes now, and now I'm like, dude, it's not happening. Let's just get this song out. It's not happening. Get the release date. Saturday morning, I'm like, I'm talking to my mom. I'm like, Mom, should I just go? Like, Borges said we'll perform it. Like, I don't, like, who do I, like do, what do I do? Like, it's the festival's tomorrow.
Holy shit.
The festival's tomorrow. So my mom's like, book it. That night, we booked the flight to Las Vegas. And literally, as I'm booking the flight, I'm like, this isn't happening. I'm going to go there, and nothing's happening. I'm like, I'm putting it in. I'm paid like $2,000-$3,000 because it's like the day of. I'm like, this ain't happening. This isn't happening. So I had to get a hotel, had to get all this stuff. So now it's Saturday night. I'm on the flight, so it's not happening. I'm on a 5-hour flight, just like it's not happening.
Oh my God, you were going from New York?
Yeah.
Oh my God.
So I'm like, damn, like this is crazy. So I land. It's the next morning now, Sunday, and it's going. Like, we got the passes. I'm like, holy shit, this is really happening. And I never been to been to a couple festivals, but I never been to like backstage, all this access and all this stuff. Like, this was all like new to me. And yeah, now it was 9 o'clock at night, and Borges was getting called to the stage, and we were all in these like little golf carts going. And
Oh my God.
we're all drunk, by the way. Like, this was like a fun experience, and I never like did any backstage before. Like, this was like all so new to me, and it was just such a fun experience. And then right after, and then I like got on stage, called me out. Like, we got insane footage, and everyone loved the song. And actually, right now, the song has like 30 million streams. So it's like, that song was probably one of my biggest records from that stressful week. So I say, don't work under pressure, but maybe sometimes it is okay to like just push through it and like try your best at it if you really want something. So I would say that. I always tell my sister that too, because if she's like doing a test, like, or like doing like homework and stuff, I hear TikTok videos that she's watching. I'm like, Jessica, put your phone down, just do it. So I'm pushing her to do it. But so that was crazy. But yeah, so after EDC Vegas, it's now like 3 a.m. destroyed. I'm drunk. And my flight was at 6 a.m. So I left Saturday, came home Monday morning, and I'm like, did that just happen yesterday? Like, what the?
You had like you had the hangover moment.
I never toured before yet, so this was like a whole like, what? How happened? And straight from there, boom, like toured for 2 years.
One of the things that we've talked about in previous episodes too, as far as like the stars aligning.
Always says, he's like, when you guys are together, just like magic happens.
I go another corner and then there's like a pink cow statue outside someone's house.
I got chubby, like I was in 3rd grade. I, having too much Lunchables. I don't know.
Oh my God, Lunchables. What was your favorite Lunchable?
You want to hear something that no one knows?
Oh, yes, we do.
I actually stopped drinking for 6 months. I started a side project. I'm a rocker at heart. Like, I love rock music. It feels so bad. So I make my coffee like every day. But I realized like this cup, whenever I would go like this, it would have.
Oh, wait. I didn't notice that. Did you, Racquel?
I know.